Critics claim Johnson pressed for a zoning change of the historic Royal Theatre, now redeveloped as apartments and a restaurant, to increase its sale price, and pushed to keep properties at 13th and Bainbridge from being seized. Defense attorney Patrick Egan told jurors Johnson continued to support Universal. They had the same objectives. You don't bribe someone you don't have to. Two Universal executives are also charged in the alleged scheme. Prosecutors claim Chavu's consulting contract with Universal was a low-show job for which she did little work, while her attorney, Barry Gross, countered the contract was not bogus. She is an experienced, hard worker. God bless you. And this federal corruption trial of another city council person is expected to last about 3 weeks. Live here at the federal court, Jeff Cole, Fox 29 News, folks.
Thank you, Jeff. The attorney representing the woman accused of killing 2 state troopers on I-95 and another man says she is devastated. 21-year-old Jana Webb is being held without bail. She's charged with several felonies after allegedly driving drunk, hitting troopers Martin Mack and Brandon Siska and the pedestrian they were trying to help, Reyes Rivera Oliveras. Webb's attorney says he is meeting with her tonight.
Our prayers go out to the families of those that perished, those 2 brave officers, that pedestrian. Our prayers and blessings, and hopefully at some point they find peace and comfort. This was a tragedy all the way around, and I think all of us are grieving for those losses.
Webb has a preliminary hearing scheduled for April 5th. A 44-year-old man gets more than 25 years in jail for an armed bank robbery that nearly killed a Pennsylvania state trooper. Police say Christopher LaRue held up a Courtesy Bank at gunpoint nearly 2 years ago, getting away with $11,000. He escaped in his car, but a GPS tracking device hidden with the stolen money led state police to his job in Conshohocken. When state troopers tried to arrest him, LaRue pointed a gun at the head of one of them and pulled the trigger, but the gun misfired. Troopers handcuffed him and took him into custody.
A Camden County man is behind bars accused of causing the overdose death of his 12-year-old nephew. Prosecutors say 35-year-old Troy Noakes of Blackwood lived at the home with the child and manufactured fentanyl there. He's accused of asking the child to clean paraphernalia that contained the drugs without wearing any protective gear. We first reported last month the boy was found unresponsive on a school bus back on January 24th and died at the hospital. Joanna Johnson has also been charged over hindering the apprehension of Noakes.
Well, you see it happen in movies. A woman wakes up to find a stranger in her bedroom. But this actually happened in Glassboro just days ago. And Marcus, a lot of the victims are Rowan University students.
Yeah, a lot of those Rowan students are females. And as a matter of fact, they were home, as you mentioned, when a person entered their house and then stayed in there for an extended period of time and did some pretty creepy things.
He went into our laundry room and he just took whoever's underwear was in there.
This man, 28-year-old Jorge Nava Heredia, is currently under arrest and being accused of breaking into multiple homes in the month of March and stealing personal items, including women's underwear. Sienna Rampula is a junior at Rowan University. She lives off campus at one of the houses the suspect allegedly broke into on March 19th.
So he broke in through the basement, and our laundry room's in the basement, so he was just taking underwear from there.
Were you home?
I was not home. 2 of my roommates were home.
So they must have been terrified.
Yeah, so we, in our group chat at 6 a.m., my roommates were like, listen, if you guys are in the house, tell us now.
Rampula says he was terrorizing everyone in the house for nearly a half an hour.
He went in and he made eye contact with her, left, turned off the lights downstairs, and then went and started knocking on my roommates' doors. In a very terrifyingly creepy way, just like a light knock.
Wow.
Horrible, horrible.
Police say they arrived and found the suspect hiding underneath the kitchen sink. According to Glassboro police, he's currently in custody at the Salem County Correctional Facility and facing multiple charges, including burglary, criminal trespass, 2 counts of theft, and 2 counts of harassment. This past Tuesday, police were granted a search warrant for the suspect's car. They say they found U.S. mail and other undergarments belonging to women. Rampula says the entire experience has traumatized her roommates.
She's terrified. She's absolutely traumatized by it.
She says police have been by to check on her residence. She's had security cameras and a video doorbell installed. warning others to be aware of their surroundings.
Get cameras all around your house.
Jason, again, this person is in custody, but police say there may be more victims out there. So if you encountered a similar situation where you had somebody break in, or even if, God forbid, you came face to face with this person that you just saw in that story, they want you to report that, as this person is in custody right now and they build a case. So overall, a very, very scary situation for a lot of folks, but it ended with no one being hurt.
Well said. All right, Marcus, thank you very much. With more and more states legalizing recreational marijuana, Philadelphia Sheriff Rochelle Bilal is calling for a path to expunging nonviolent marijuana offenses. She was joined by local lawmakers and hip-hop artists like Beanie Siegel and PNB Rock, who are also starting a $100,000 fund for legal fees and fines.
With the people that get locked up for marijuana and you do serve your time, and you feel as though you serve your time in the community, the double jeopardy comes in, because now after you serve your time, you have to pay these fines and these fees and these costs.
Now, they say that people of color are disproportionately targeted for marijuana offenses, and say that that holds those communities back as they try to participate in the legal marijuana marketplace.
Happening now, President Joe Biden in Brussels as he reiterates the United States' commitment to NATO and its allies. The president also announcing fresh sanctions against Russia, as well as pledging additional aid to Ukraine to bolster their defense against Kremlin forces. Fox's Alexis McAdams is there.
President Biden says sanctions on Russia are indefinite, and NATO stands united. President Biden kicked off his high-stakes visit to Europe with this photo op, posing alongside NATO leaders in Brussels on Thursday. The president got right to business, attending emergency summits with members of NATO and the European Union. All members agreed to further support Ukraine in their defense against Russian forces.
We will invest $320 million to bolster democratic resilience and defend human rights in Ukraine and neighboring countries.
The Biden administration also imposed new sanctions on Russia Thursday. These sanctions will target more than 400 Russian elites and politicians with close ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Biden and members of NATO also warning Russia will pay a hefty price if they resort to chemical warfare in Ukraine.
It will be a blatant violation of international law, and it will have widespread consequences.
All this as the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine gets worse by the day. Millions of people have fled overwhelming countries along NATO's eastern flank. The White House now says they will allow as many as 100,000 refugees fleeing Ukraine to enter the U.S. and will explore a number of legal pathways to streamline that process.
This is an international responsibility, and the United States is a leader.
The White House promised Ukraine another $1 billion in humanitarian aid. In Brussels, Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is one step closer to making history as the first black female Supreme Court justice.
The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing from outside witnesses, and we'll bring you the very latest from the final day of hearings.
Nominated for Anchorman 3, he won!
So I jotted down a few notes just in case I did. So, first of all, I'd like... Let's go for a ride!
You're right with Bob Kelly to see some of the most interesting places in our area. Watch Kelly Drives tonight at 6:30 on Fox 49.
Calm down. Stay in the back. Your food is ready to get out the oven.
There's never been a better time to join the world's #1 poker site. Sign up today and we'll give you $50 in free play. Or a deposit bonus of up to $600. More ways to play with cash games, daily tournaments, and spin and go. And the best part, it's all completely safe and legal. So what are you waiting for? Play for your share of $4.5 million across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan during the Spring Championship of Online Poker. Download the PokerStars app today.
I'm Jake Corman, a conservative running for governor who stood up to Tom Wolf. Larry Krasner, district attorney of Philadelphia, has brought lawlessness to this city and should be impeached. If you agree, join my team.
I may want to make some red potatoes or some white rice, something to go with the meat, because there's a whole lot of meat, and corn on pie.
Get expert addiction treatment close to home.
Another crazy week. What day is it? Oh, we need milk. Ooh, strawberries. Yeah, Giant Direct. I just wave my magic wand. Okay, my phone. And boom, everything's fresh like I picked it out myself. Right to my car, and I just freed up 2 hours.
Yeah.
Giant Direct is like my
They already ate right, so don't touch their food on the stove.
Huh?
Don't touch their food on the stove, right? That's their food.
Alright.
Now get free
They
pickup on
already ate.
any size order with Giant Direct.
I told them they got all that meat, right? So they might want to make some red potatoes or something, right? Bake them or something, right? Or make some white or something, right? I need a vegetable too, they want to make. So there's all meat down there.
The Denver Fire Department tweeting these photos from Empower Field at Mile High in Denver, of course, when the Broncos play. Fire crews say the flames broke out in the seating area on the 3rd level and the suite area on the 4th level. Burned about 1,000 square feet of the stadium. It was fully involved at one point there. Investigators say they'll have to determine if there was any structural damage to the stadium. Nobody was hurt.
Delaware State Police are investigating an attempted carjacking of a 14-year-old boy in a mall parking lot. It happened just before 7:30 last night near the Target at Michigan Mall. Investigators say a man approached the teen as he was turned into his brother's car.
You get up, you
Told
want
the boy to
to
give
some
him
lady like
everything.
put my
The
plate back
victim
in the
tried to run.
microwave.
Police say he fell
I
to
don't
the
think you
ground.
need
The
anything
suspect
in
then
there,
stood over the teenager and took the
but
car
snack
keys
you
and
candy
demanded
stuff in
he
there.
get into the car. The teen refused and ran into the food court. The car was later found in the parking lot running with the doors open. Fortunately, the teenager was not hurt.
Today was the final day of hearings in the Senate Judiciary Committee over the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. A panel of legal experts wrapped up the testimony this afternoon, and Fox's Madeline Rivera is in Washington with more details on what comes next.
On the last day of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing, the Senate Judiciary Committee listened to her supporters. Reviewers describe her integrity as beyond reproach, impeccable, and of the highest caliber. And opposers.
And Judge Jackson's now infamous law review article gives me no assurance that she would give voice to the voiceless victims of sex crimes.
Jackson's record of sentences for child sex abusers has been a point of contention for Republicans, calling into question whether she'll secure any of their votes. Senator Lindsey Graham, one of 3 Republicans who joined Democrats to confirm her last year for her current role as a D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals judge, is now skeptical of her background.
After 2 days, I am now more convinced than ever that I understand why Demand Justice and every radical left-wing group chose her as their primary candidate.
Yet Democrats feel Jackson's confirmation seems virtually assured, even if she's approved along party lines.
Some of the attacks on this judge were unfair, unrelenting, and beneath the dignity of the United States Senate.
They're accusing some Republicans in the committee who have presidential aspirations of using the hearing as an audition for 2024.
You have some that are looking to run for higher office, some that just play to a political base. It was the questions that were important to them and not the answers.
The committee may not vote on Jackson's nomination until April 4th, with a final confirmation by the full Senate potentially taking place on April 8th. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News. In your money news, Delaware lawmakers are hoping to help the state's taxpayers. The plan, which has the support of the governor, would send $300 in direct payments to residents. That's according to Delaware Online. And it comes as the state looks to take advantage of its $1 billion budget surplus. Lawmakers are looking to help out Delawareans amid climbing inflation and record high gas prices. Villanova men's basketball taking on Michigan in the Sweet 16 tonight in San Antonio. Now, this is a rematch of the 2018 championship game. It's even in the same city, but of course, a lot has changed since Nova hoisted that trophy a couple years ago.
When you had Jalen and Mikhail and guys like that, you never think you're going to get leaders like that again. And then you watch Colin and Jermaine, and you realize if you have guys like that, there's a chance they can pass it on.
Well, the Phillies continued their Grapefruit League schedule with a game against the Pittsburgh Pirates today. So to Florida we go, top of the 4th here. Phillies down 2, and Rhys Hoskins tying it up with a 2-run home run to center. That's his first homer this spring training. Skipping ahead now to the 5th here. Phillies down 1, and Mickey Moniak hits a solo home run to start that inning. The game now tied at 3, but some rain
in, managers decide to call it after 5 innings. So this one ends in a tie, 3-3. Phillies play the Yankees tomorrow, 1:05. And Kyrie Irving will presumably be rejoining the Brooklyn Nets soon. New York City officials lifting those vaccine mandates today, meaning Kyrie can play at the Barclays Center again. In addition, all unvaccinated Major League Baseball players going to be able to play in New York venues once the season starts in April. And the Flyers have a game in St. Louis tonight. Puck drops at 8 p.m. Jason?
Brilliant, thank you so much. Hey, let's take you live outside and take a look at a soggy old city and keep those umbrellas handy. Hey, Kathy?
Oh, yeah. Over the course of the weekend, temperatures falling as the jet stream takes a